Welcome to Cult and Classic.
Welcome, friends and fiends of cultandclassicfilms.com to another episode of Cult and Classic Films podcast. I'm your host, film critic, and comedian Nate Wyckoff. And with me here, we have longtime contributor Mandy Longley. And if you could hear what has been occurring before the recording of this episode, you would, I don't know, you would laugh, you would cry, you would think very differently about this business venture because the technical problems, the user problems are abundant today. But it's fine. Everything's good. If you're listening to this when it comes out, the week of Thanksgiving 2024, if you're not, then hello from the past. If you are, then you may have noticed that for the first time in the many-year history of Cult and Classic Films, we went 3 weeks without posting an episode, and that was because your host was sick, very sick. He lost his voice for 2 weeks, and I'm speaking the third person. I lost my voice for 2 weeks. It's still kind of weak, but I didn't even have the energy to do the rebroadcast, which I normally would do when something like that happens. So I apologize, but we're back in the saddle to talk about what is officially my favorite Thanksgiving film of all time. And that's pretty big praise because I like Thankskilling and I like Addams Family Values a lot, which you can go back through our catalog and listen to a dual episode of those films for Thanksgiving. But this movie we're talking about today is 2012, 2013's. I forget exactly when it came out. I believe it was produced in 2012. Thankskilling 3. So Thankskilling 3. Thankskilling 3 is going to probably be the most difficult film to give you a synopsis of that I've ever had to do, which is saying something because
There's no way.
it's not something I'm good at on the best of days, because
Mm.
I don't prepare and I say it on the fly because I want to be natural for all of you listeners. I want to be approachable. That's why I do that. That's why I don't prepare. But let me try. So the first film, go listen to our go listen to our episode on that. It is a sort of satirical, stereotypical, people go people go on a trip on break, and demon turkey rises after being urinated on and kills those who it comes across, and then he's ultimately flambéed. Okay, there you go. There's a lot more to it. It is a turkey puppet named Turkey. That's IE at the end. Thank you very much. And he shouts quips, which range from clever to nice tits, bitch, which is a reused quote in this sequel. Now, first off, there is no Thanksgiving 2 available. The movie Thanksgiving 3, which was backed by Kickstarter. In fact, as of 2013, it was the highest funded Kickstarter horror film. That has changed, I'm sure, but it reached $100,000. And it is for very good reason that this movie was successfully kickstarted, because this movie is about trying to get the last copy of Thankskilling 2. And let me just try this. The first movie was grounded in sort of a sense of reality. You know, it's real people, like goofy, cartoonish, but stereotypical kids being hunted by a killer, right? Slasher film standard fodder
Well,
concept.
like a la the gingerbread like killer.
Yeah,
Like
the gingerbread man with Gary Busey's voice for the first couple,
yeah.
very much in that vein. But it got goofier with some truly ham-fisted outrageous jokes and visual gags and an animated segment, so that they really went all out, and it was fun. So I was looking forward to this one, which is interesting because I don't hear as much about it than the first one. So I was expecting, you know, maybe something that at best would be enjoyable, but kind of a hackneyed repeat. Wow.
Mm.
Completely wrong. This movie saw the first movie
Yeah.
and said, "Oh, hold my LSD." It is crazy
Yeah,
pants bonkers.
literally. And dialed it up to like 1,000.
Yeah,
Not just like 11. The
I
first one goes
say
to 11. No,
this.
this one goes to
Oh,
1,000.
I say this about quite many of our movies, which is, you know, they're bonkers, crazy, bananas, you know, crazy pants, whatever.
Yeah.
No, this movie really is insane, and it's so fast, the visual bits, that
Yeah.
it's like I get tired watching it, but it is legitimately funny in many parts,
It is.
and it is a visual feast. They out Adult Swim. Nothing, even my favorite, even
Hmm.
the best oddities of Space Coast to Coast have from Adult Swim have never reached this true like highest form of cinematic uh, madness. Like it's
Yeah.
pouring things
Insanity. Yeah.
down your eyeballs. Like it is there are puppets, aliens, tons of film nods as there were in the first one, which we'll mention some,
Hmm.
including an opening scene, Star Wars inspired, of course. And then there are people and there are puppets that are actually like the grandmother of a person, and there are
Mm.
talking turkey cooking machines. There is a wise Obi-Wan turkey. There are young turkeys that are clearly songbirds. There are uh,
There's a worm, a
there's a
space worm.
space worm. There is a hulking Terminator-esque robot that has
Hmm.
a butt particle beam. There is a
A
uh,
vortex from its butt
I
parts.
mean,
Yeah.
there are Evil Dead, there are Army of Darkness
There's
skeletal
like
turkeys. There's references. I mean, I know I've said that,
there's
but
like an alternate universe with
yeah,
like a sexy like
I
turkey in it.
I mean, there's sitcom beats at certain times. There are just sight gags. There are animated commercials, and
Yep.
infomercials. There is, I mean, this movie literally just like you can't go a minute without having something new and
A,
insane added to
a
the
very
mix.
inappropriate kids television show.
Oh, it is like, and it's beautiful. It's actually like really pretty shot, and the colors and
It's
the
like,
puppets are rad.
yeah.
Like it takes the best sort of DIY of the earliest um Pee Wee Herman show puppetry with sort of the anybody that remembers oh, what was it called? The Mr. Meaty puppet shorts that they had. I believe they were on Nickelodeon. Somebody can correct me
And it
in
was
our
like nobody in the puppet department talked to each other about what the style of the puppets was
all
going to
different
be.
styles. Um, I mean, sometimes you can see strings, you don't care. There's an alien
Sometimes you
puppet.
see strings and then they cut them.
I mean, there's a
Like, oh
scene
wait,
where
you didn't see that part probably.
okay, so
Most
here's
of the
so
crew
here's the
talked about
here's
that.
the
Yeah.
embarrassing story. This is I am a professional
Oh, I
critic. I
outed
am a
you.
professional.
Sorry.
I'm a no. I was gonna come clean. I'm a professional podcaster.
Sure.
I I I do my job, and today I waited until the last minute because I'm still catching up from all the stuff I was doing when I was or not doing when I was sick. And today I watched the movie. I adored it. I got to a point where I thought it was the end. And
Oh,
I was like, okay, well, I didn't wait to the credits, which is always the big deal, right? Wait to the credits and then see if there's anything mid or after credits. I didn't because I was like, I gotta go, I got other stuff, so we're good. And then I got home, got ready for this, and it was still on the TV. I turned on and I realized it kept going. And there was a reveal, and there's of course Turkey, it's a fake out and death. And there's a whole nother 30 minutes or so of the movie.
oh
And
yeah.
you can't, it's only an hour and 39 minutes, but you cannot judge time in this film. At least I can't because it's so frenetically and crazy. I mean,
It felt like both like 45 minutes and 3 hours.
yes. And it's like not in a bad way, but also like
Yeah, not a bad way.
I'm
Like,
wrapped to the
so
screen.
much has happened. So much has happened. It must have taken longer than this
it
to
this
like
There's a
have all this
huge amount of
happen.
work in this movie.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a huge amount. Like there are props galore. There are multiple scenes. There are some outdoor shoots. I mean, uh, it's it's part Narnia sometimes. It's there's a very good uh Evil Dead spoof moment when Turkey. There's no spoilers in this movie. It's too insane. I can't even remember all the madness that's happening. But there's the fake out death of Turkey getting roasted and being brought back together by his risen from the dead skeletal turkey friends, and they're like, sorry, we lost your penis, and he's like, excuse me. and he takes like this hand carver little chainsaw, and they attach it to where his penis should be, and he pulls and it's shot just like the scene where Ash replaces his hand with a chainsaw, and then when he pulls the thing and it starts up, he looks at the camera and goes gravy instead of Bruce Campbell's, signature groovy. And it's just, I mean, it's so stupid, but it's funny. It's really funny. You
It
had
is.
tons like Aqua Teen Hunger Force references in a way. Like you have the rapping geriatric grandma, where she's a horrifying puppet that just I, my I think my favorite character in the whole thing is gone pretty much in the first. He's only got maybe 15 minutes max of screen time at all, and it's Jefferson.
If you like
The,
Jefferson, I was gonna say you like Jefferson.
the two main characters that are human in this are Jefferson, whose real name is Jeffrey, and Uncle Donnie, and both of them are they're clearly obsessed with colonial people, like being like pilgrimish, but really pre-pilgrim colonial people, and or post-pilgrim, I guess. So they wear their wigs, their powdered wig kind of vibe things. They wear their British navy coats, and they're creating Thanksgiving land, and they're all about, especially Jefferson, who's way more bonkers about it, whose mother is the grandma Flouise. It, he's going to be security of Thanksgiving land, and he has his tall pike or his full pike. I forget what they called it. It's
Long Pike?
long pike, thank you. It's like a halberd, but with a point instead of a blade. And but they keep making jokes because it's like a broom handle that he's taped a butter knife to on the end.
Yeah.
And he talks about just colonial stuff, like there will be no technology allowed in Thanksgiving land, like you will churn butter, you will do all these things, and it's going to be fun. But he's just such a complete loser failure, but he's so likable, and his jokes are genuinely funny to me. Like his trying to turn on the
Oh,
light
the light switch
for
thing.
thanks
I was
Oh
dying.
my God.
I
He
was
doesn't,
dying.
instead of walking over, he's trying to use his makeshift long pike. And it's one of those jokes that's so real and so over the top.
I have no less than probably 10 people in my life
It,
that would probably do that.
there are Jeff, let's just say Jeff, longtime contributor of the pod, good friend, full disclosure, Mandy's brother. He would be the one. He's like, I can do it. No, I got this.
Yeah,
God damn, I got
I
this.
got this. I got it. You don't
And
walk around and do it for me. Just wait.
yes,
It's only
just
gonna.
gotta, and it's,
Yeah.
and I'm guilty of that as well. And and it's just funny. There are dream sequences. There's a couple of weird musical interludes. The music is great. It
There's
was,
like basically straight up like music videos
yes,
that get very like I don't know, like rave-esque
yeah, very
lighting and
the
like yeah.
music by Zayn Effendi is um how do you even call it? It's that thing the kids listen to. I'm so old. The blah 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 blah. I forget even what it's what you what you would call that. I'm so old now. I'm 40 years old, guys, and I feel I'm 40 going on 80. I live in a retirement community here in Palm Springs. It just comes with the territory, but uh it's great. And the puppets are great. Turkey looks better than ever, but still the same, I think. Like, and there's a lot more, they do a lot more fun animated movements and have different parts. Like his wings are more arm-like sometimes, and he'll grip things like when he's being fed into the is it called the Pluck-O-Matic or Pluckmaster? Uh, the
You
big
know
turkey
what?
cooking
I should
machine. Uh,
the big turkey cooking machine, and
that
I should
speaks.
remember because I watched this yesterday and I don't.
I
It's
literally,
even a
I
speaking
I literally
character.
watched it like a little bit ago. Yeah, it's just, and and the machine talks. You don't expect that for any particular reason. Do we even find out
No.
why? I don't think so.
No, like I
Anyway,
don't think they're like, oh, it's haunted or has some story. No, he just
no,
built it
he built
and
it,
it's
and it
sentient.
backsasses him,
Yep.
and it's brilliant. We have
Mm.
uh we oh my god, I can't even. So Uncle Donnie's played by Daniel Usage, or it's USAJ, probably destroying his last name, but he does a great job. He's like a uh I imagine a less sexual offender Louis C.K., and he does a great job. Joe Hartzler is Jefferson. The script is written, of course, this, like the first, is directed by Jordan Downey, and the writing credits go to Jordan Downey, Michael W. Downey, and Kevin Stewart. Kevin was also on the original writing team, but Michael Downey is new, and has taken the place of Brad Schultz from the first writing crew. The jokes are funny. They're very varied. There's like pun jokes. There's physical humor. There's just kind of every joke structure you can imagine. There's smart jokes. There's a truckload of dumb jokes, and Jordan Downey himself voices a lot of um, the non like physical characters, like the puppets. Kevin Stewart, other writer, does the others. So Turkey, Yomi. So we'll talk about Yomi. Wise Turkey, which is
Oh
kind of
man.
Obi-Wan. Muff are Jordan, and Kevin does Rhonda Worm. Pluckmaster, that's what it is. Pluckmaster and Meowmer. So Yomi is like this sweet looking. She looks like the young version of what's her name from Animals Band, Electric Mayhem, and the Muppets. Janice. She looks like a young version of Janice from the Muppets, and she's just a little orange necked puppet. She's definitely related to our puppet friend here at Cult and Classic Films, Schmeckle, who most people might not have seen yet, but just keep your eyes out. He'll be coming down the pipe. But an orange puppet, and she has lost her mind. We know this because in the beginning part of the film, with some of the exposition, her mind literally floats out of her head. It looks kind of like a felt heart with this questionable genital mouth. And it says, "You must come find me," and it floats out of her head. So that's how we know she's literally lost her mind, and she is looking for it. She is uh there. I don't really. She's likable, I think, but you don't really like her purpose is not clear until the end. She can't be mind controlled by Turkey because she has no mind. And she's sort of the chosen one. And Uncle Donnie ends up sort of picking her up without, not really wanting to. The
Because
reluctant
she's
hero.
not like a puppet, but
She's
she's like what
an
puppets
a
are based on.
Yeah, she's an alien that
Yeah.
puppets are
Yeah.
created to look like. So we've forgotten that
Mm.
puppets are based on an actual creature. But you do wake them up by putting your hand up their bum. So yeah. Anyway, that does happen. I I mean, so basically the plot is this movie, Thanksgiving 2, is supposed to be a child-friendly sequel to the first Thanksgiving, which at the end of Thanksgiving, it's a promise for Thanksgiving in tits in space. And
Mm.
this the opening of this movie is the opening of Thanksgiving 2 in space. And we learned that the movie has been canned and all copies have been burned, sort of a la the Atari game E.T., where they buried them in the desert. But there's one final copy on DVD, and it's been thrown into the trash. Well, it ends up in the hands of Yomi. Uh, Turkey has sort of settled down with a female turkey and has a little felt turkey son. And when he finds out that his wife has hidden the information that his movie has been destroyed, he goes on a rampage and he murders her and then takes Turkey to become an evil sidekick. And it's he's has this line like, "I'm not evil, I'm nasty," and it is very true. He's of course a very vile little creature, but he kills his son so he can send his spirit into the world to find the DVD, at which point his spirit melds with the DVD, and so we have his turkey son's head sticking out of the DVD case talking for the
As
movie
a puppet.
as a
Yeah.
puppet, being carried around by another puppet, sometimes
Hmm.
riding in a wheelchair on top of a third puppet. Um, And the whole crux of it is Turkey is trying to get this DVD because it has the power to control everyone who watches it to then commit suicide. And we, like the first movie, learned that Turkey is created by an ancient Indian curse out of all of the hatred of turkey kind being turned towards men after the first Thanksgiving. So we learned that there's a turkey afterlife of peace and a turkey hell. Um, they have a very a confusing cosmetology, but it's I don't I mean what have we mentioned one thing more than like twice? Like there's just so much in this movie, and the jokes are nonstop. It's like I don't know what's good or bad jokes anymore because it's so fast paced. And then the action scenes are cut in such a way. They have some great movement from the puppets being slapped around or slapping each other around or slapping people around.
Mhm.
But they also have these like nice lighting effects, and it just makes it feel like if you fast forwarded one of the better, if there is such a thing, direct to video Steven Seagal movies these days, where they do everything they can, move the camera, have other people dancing around, everything they can to make it look like he's moving um, when he's standing still. And it's great, but it's also madness inducing chaos. And some of the jokes are just they work because they're so unexpected. There's the joke rule where most jokes are misdirects. You think, what's going to happen is one thing and it's something totally different and it becomes comedy. Some of them are actually just I don't even know, it's sort of a Dolly-esque, millennial to Gen Z humor thing where you just don't expect it and it just shows up for no reason. Like when Muff, the big robot with the portal butt, who is ridden by the space earthworm, that is how like the space earthworm, uh,
Mhm.
Rhonda, uh, he's walking around and he has the sounds of like the term RoboCop basically as he's walking around, and then we see him walking around Uncle Donnie's house, and then at one point it just cuts so you just see his legs walking, but they're just like the empty
Random puppet
pants.
legs that are
They're just
like
the empty
hanging.
puppet pants, and they're just like
Yeah,
dangling around along the floor, flopping back and forth. And then it just for no reason, it goes back to normal. Nothing. We get Rhonda Rhonda
because
Worm is
because
literally
it is clearly a person in a suit who has been
yes.
walking around for
We even
like
see his
for
feet
like
in
an
the opening
hour.
scene. Yeah,
Yes,
we see his
for
feet in the
like an
opening
hour of
scene.
the movie, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, we're just gonna pretend like he's been a puppet all this time and
His yes, his
like
legs,
make it
they look
fake
like
floppy walk around this room
they
for
look
no
like
reason.
they look like Patrick Warburton's character Joe's legs, the paraplegic police officer from Family Guy, just hanging there.
Hmm.
And there's
Yeah.
another scene, and I guess behind the scenes, which is so funny, Rhonda Worm, who is a interesting sort of wire puppet. It's a puppet with this, on a stick basically, and there's clearly some wire mechanism in the stick that can open and close the mouth. And his eyes, by the way, are googly eyes. Sounds a lot like Cartman from South Park.
Hmm.
I guess it kept breaking. And at one point, so there's several different Rhonda puppets. But at one point, just in between him talking and it cutting away and then cutting back to him talking and then cutting away and then cutting back to him talking, in the middle, he goes from being, or she goes, I don't know the gender of Rhonda,
The worm.
the worm. I don't do worms have, I don't know. Anyway, that's a question for the scientists. Rhonda is
I don't know.
Rhonda
At one point, they do talk
clarify.
about his genitals being missing, um,
I can't even
and
remember.
that he had had sex with Turkey, and he was like, "You did me in the butthole!" Like it was like the
Oh,
most ridiculous thing.
that
You're
is
just like,
correct. That is right.
"What?
He is a jilted
What?"
lover. Yes.
Yeah.
So but Rhonda is Rhonda and then cut back and there's just an uncooked hot dog with
Yes.
Rhonda's googly
Okay,
eyes,
talking
mustache,
like
and hair
online.
talking, and then it cuts back, and then it cuts back to the regular puppet, and it's not you're not even given time to really react. You're just like, wait, what? Um, the
Yep.
the visual gags. Um, I the movie is it's so madness that it's kind of it's like an event. Like I couldn't I was like, oh, I'll put it on, and then like during some sort of moment of like slower part, I will like go in the kitchen where I can still see the television and grab
Hmm.
something to eat. You can't. I
Hmm.
couldn't. There's
You
no
can't. Nope, you
there's no
can't. There's no
single
break.
moment. Um
Mm-mm.
and the fact that Uncle Donnie is played so straight, like there's like that was something that was brilliant about the first one, is that Turkey is clearly a hand puppet of some kind. And yet everyone is treating Turkey as though Turkey is a turkey. Well, Danny
Hmm.
Musada's character, Uncle Donnie, the fact that these people or things around him are puppets, or puppets of
Yeah.
people, or puppet or alien creatures that puppets are based on, or space
It
worms,
it's
or
a,
a talking
it
turkey.
is a straight up Muppet movie
It is. It really
because he's
is.
like the only human. Everything else
I'm a
is a
huge
puppet.
I'm a huge fan of the Muppets. This
Yeah.
movie had more Muppet in it than the first um uh relaunch Muppet movie from Disney did with
Mm.
with Jason Spiegel. Like this has more it is per per frame, it is more Muppet than it's more Muppet Christmas Carol than it is Muppet Show, because Muppet
Hmm.
Christmas Carol, you've got one person, right? You just have Michael Caine. And in the same
Hmm.
way as Uncle Donnie here, he plays it as serious as they say in the meme, as serious as a car accident. And so it's just delightful. It is it's so vile. There's hints of early South Park sometimes with like worm
Hmm.
butt play. There's also there's nods in the beginning when Turkey has his family. There's the living room. They live in a house, and the living room is like this exact blend of the Roseanne living room with Mama's family's living room. Like it's just picture perfect. And they play it like a sitcom until the murders. And the references don't stop between South Park and Evil Dead and Army of Darkness and Roseanne, um, and even a little Narnia. The spaceship shots, you see a spaceship shot of another worm who sold Rhonda, the Muff robot. Um, it really looks like Critters the spaceship that the Critter Hunters are on, the Krite Hunters. And then it's just everything, that Jordan Downey, like the first movie, and his co-writers, they've seen all these movies we love just like us. And this is like, it feels like a labor of love. This is not a cash in. This is a completely new beast using a character from the first film. Uh, and it blew my mind. You watched it before me, and you
Yeah.
texted and you're like, this is the Muppet movie I didn't know I needed," and you're 100% right. I could never have
Oh
put
yeah.
this into words. I'm a weird guy, and so my
It was
wife,
like yeah. Like
like,
I
she
feel like
comes,
this is one that I would rewatch.
oh,
Like there's like
100%.
lots and
Like
lots of
after
movies
this
that we watch. I'm
recording,
like, glad I watched that, or not glad I watched that. Never watching it again. Like this one, I'd be like, yeah,
yes.
no, I definitely watch this again. Like it is so freaking weird.
Yeah, like thanks,
Um,
and I'll see new
yeah,
things. I won't remember 50% of this movie because you
yeah.
can't commit it all to
Like
memory.
I couldn't catch. I like was like, I'm old. Like we're old, old, and I was like, I need to watch this again with subtitles because
I
like
You could
the
watch it, I think,
raps,
at
like
like,
the grandma raps,
oh my God, the
like
grandma raps. They are
I
straight Aqua Teen Hunger Force from MCP Pants. You know, when MC, I
yes.
don't know, Aqua fans, MCP Pants gets killed, comes back as a big spider, gets killed, comes back as an old man. Uh, like it's that. They're actually hella rad. Um,
She's
I
got talent, you know?
I
Like
just and
she found her purpose.
they play and it also plays like a horror movie. Like the deaths of the
Yeah.
characters are gruesome, and
Yeah.
it's like you go from this cartoonish humor where you kind of start to love these characters, and then when one of them die, it's truly gruesome, and you get and then you get these insane one-liners that Turkey does, which are very much in line with Turkey's character that they've developed, you know? Like they're not even puns because the amount of setup they require is beyond the level of a joke. Like when he kills Jefferson, he takes the butter knife off the end of the makeshift long pipe, scoops up a piece of gore, and then puts it on a piece of toast, takes a bite and goes, "You're toast," and then throws it in the fridge and says, it's always good to put your leftovers in the fridge from Thanksgiving so the next morning you can have a nice cold snack. Like, that's not even, you can't even call that a joke. But
He's like, you need to refrigerate your
that's,
leftovers.
it's just such, it's so long to get there, but it just doesn't, you don't know where it's going. You expect it to go to the next beat of the story, and it doesn't. It's to say the joke. It's to say what is
Yes.
purportedly the joke that it actually becomes the joke. It's the whole thing where it's so not funny that it circles back around to being funnier than it would have been had it been funny in the
Yeah.
first place.
Yeah.
Um, it's paycheck funny, you know, John Woo's paycheck. You see so far ahead that you see into the past. Um, I I'm looking at the credits here listed as they are on IMDb. I don't even know who half these people are in here. Oh, there's Greg Garbage, who's in one scene in the beginning, and he's a talking garbage bag that hacks up the the
Amazing.
DVD.
The DVD. Yeah.
There's isn't
Gives it to Yomi.
is Nibla the talking
It's the
animated
baby.
cat?
No,
Oh,
Niblet.
Nibla's the kid, the
Niblet's the
turkey
baby.
child.
Yeah, like the baby
Yes.
turkey.
Okay. Oh, Meowmer. That's right. Meowmer is the animated helpful kid cat who does
Yeah.
really dirty things like licking animated buttholes in their opening theme
Yeah,
song
it's
for the show.
was his thing like something about the nip, just the nip?
Just the nip.
I
Yep.
think it's
There's
I think
also,
that's like what's on Yomi's backpack. That's like
this is the thing,
his like
until
I
it
don't
was
know, like
written
this.
down, I just read it. I didn't realize in the opening scene, which is supposed to be a scene from the Lost Thankskilling 2, where it's like it's a Star Wars riff of you know, the Rogue Squadron or X-Wing Squadron, any of those. Um, there's there's a pumpkin pie that's flying a ship with turkey, and
It's
they're like,
yes.
and he's
Yep.
like Commander Pie or whatever, and he's like, it's Pilot, and the way I'm like, I don't, okay, and I saw it written down. I'm like, oh, pilot. It's Pilot,
Yes.
as in pilot, because he's
Yes.
flying a spaceship. It,
Yes. And he's a pumpkin pie.
just
He's an evil pumpkin pie.
he's a pumpkin pie. Um, let's also, of course, acknowledge that
With a
Thanksgiving 2
lot
in
of
this,
attitude.
yes, the scene we do see in the beginning of Thanksgiving 2 is supposed to be for an all ages sequel, and it opens like the first film with a close up of a woman's nipples. Um, it is,
In
and it is
a
again Wanda
spacesuit.
Lust. It is Wanda Lust, yes, in a space, in an American, not just a spacesuit, a U.S. spacesuit,
Hmm.
with a see through space helmet and see through space bust, one for each breast. It is, and like I
Yep.
said, that is Wanda Lust, who is also in the opening of the first film. I love that they brought her back for that. It's just, it's kind of, I mean, it's perfect at this point. I don't know how you would do a sequel to this movie, but I wish there was one. In fact, you know, Don, director writer of A Child's Play and Bubba Hotep and great movies, you know, recently did the seasons of Chucky, you know, the continuation of the Child's Play story, with Brad Dourif and his daughter Fiona Dourif, and it's great, love it. Um, I I would love. I think you could do a Thanksgiving, like sort of long form limited series, because it feels, it's, there's
Mm.
so much in it that, like, what was
I could see them doing like the from the world of Thanksgiving 3 or
yeah, like
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving,
3.
yeah, like it
Like,
just, because there's, this is sort of like it, in a way it reminded me of when Guillermo del Toro, sorry, I love him too, but Robert Rodriguez, who I'm a big fan of, when he did El Mariachi and Desperado, you know, there, it's a sequel, although like Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, it's also sort of a remake. But they're very character focused on the mariachi player. But then years later, when he returned to that world, he did Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and it's an ensemble
yeah.
cast, and it's sort of like El Mariachi's in there. Mariachi is a key moment, but he's not the focus. And yet, and sort of that's sort of what this one is. Turkey and the people trying to survive were the focus of the first film. This film is a straight up ensemble. We get stories from everyone. Um, and it's as soon as I saw
Oh, we
Uncle
even get
Don,
when people go to heaven. Oh my
oh
goodness.
my God. Did the Louisa, the grandmother said, Jefferson's mom says horrible, horrible things. He's like, you think you'll get into heaven? First off, they do the great thing of having a character repeat a line that no one wants to hear
Yep.
twice,
Yeah.
slowly.
Hmm.
Um, and then she says, "Well, when I get to heaven, I'm going to get to heaven. When I get to heaven, I'm going to get on my knees and give God a big sloppy knob job or something." So when she's killed, we get this scene which I didn't expect. I don't know why I didn't expect it, because I should have expected it, of like this heavenly plane, and Jefferson is in it. It's like, "Mom, look, I got my long pike, and God's waiting for his sloppy knob job."
Right? He's like
It's
security. He's like security of heaven.
yes.
Like all he wanted to be was security of Thanksgiving land. He's like security of heaven, and yeah, he's greeting like all of the characters that die in the movie.
And you can think of like you can you can think of you can think of this movie later. Like I was just while we were setting up and trying to get started, I was thinking of like the fact that they're colonial, obviously, like they're colonial sort of uh hobbyists slash obsessed, obsessed zealots. I was like, well, I mean, it's funny in a way because obviously the turkey's natural enemy in this world would be people who would be celebrating Thanksgiving with the Native Americans. But at the same time, I was like, they also take it further by the fact that um, Uncle Donnie, his wife and child were killed when he sent them to for the first use of the Pluckmaster machine he built. He sent them to get a barrel of stuffing, and the thing that he should have thought of is that who else likes stuffing? Wolves. And they were eaten by wolves who then ate the stuffing. And it's like this old, it's this old-timey, colonial concept of like the dangers of nature. They're wolves that ate them. And it plays into that like colonial obsession then, but you don't have time to think about any of that um
No.
at all.
Dude, yeah.
I also want to mention too that Flo's Flois's voice is done by Mark M in the credits, and I can only assume it's because Mark M was saying things as Fluisa that he did not want uh, people in his day life to know. I don't know if Mark M works at a child's daycare or lives above a preschool, something of those natures. But when you have one of these movies and you see someone's name shortened in the credits, I always laugh and wonder why.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
So like we've spent like a half an hour trying, attempting to do a plot summary of this movie, and we haven't done our normal questions. And
no,
I don't know if this movie even applies
I don't even
to
think
the
it
normal
applies. I mean,
questions.
I think at this
Yeah.
point we just got to move to the recommendations, yay or nay. I mean,
Okay.
Mandy,
Yeah.
do you recommend Thankskilling 3? And if so, to who and why?
I mean, yes, obviously, clearly very much enjoyed this movie. Would I recommend it though? I suppose like I would recommend this movie to people who want to put like Dark Crystal, that super weird Christmas monster movie that we reviewed that one time, uh, and like a horror film in a blender
Uh-huh.
with gravy and stuffing and cranberry sauce and like that. They would enjoy that. Like that, I would recommend it to them. But honestly, like I watched this with someone who does not generally watch our podcast movies, and I was like, "This is what I'm doing tonight." So sorry. They sat through the whole thing and didn't really complain. They were like, "I think we just watched an infomercial," and then I was like, "The people who made this movie really had fun with the puppets." And they're like, "Oh yeah, they sure did." Um, so
Uh,
yeah, like I guess like I'd recommend it to people who want to like rope innocent bystanders into watching something strange as well, because that was equally entertaining in the whole experience. But
and
possibly a wider audience would enjoy this also, like more than what you or I might think would enjoy it. 'Cause it's just so weird.
it is so weird. And I And if anybody, so I of course recommend this as well. I love this. I don't.
Yeah, like I said, like the Muppet movie, I didn't know I needed this fall.
Yeah,
It's my
I
new
love this.
favorite Thanksgiving movie.
In fact, I recommended this film today. But if some people think they like, oh, I love bad movies, or oh, I love weird horror, or oh, like I this is the weirdest movie, and they mention like something that's been released by Criterion, which I love,
Mm,
but that's
yeah.
it. As David Sedaris says, you can't say you discovered a restaurant if it's listed in the phone book, right? It's like,
Mm,
yes, but you haven't dug to the next layer yet of life. This is several layers down. So it can be a shock to people who wouldn't know. And as I mentioned, it looked to me like there was a critter reference, several critter references. 2 years after this, uh, Jordan Downey did make what has been a pretty well received Critters short film, Critters Bounty Hunter. So holla, I forgot he done that, and I am totally right. Also, most recently this year, 2024, he did a segment called Stork in VHS Beyond. So if anybody's watched that or was interested in watching that newest installment in the series, he's got one in there. Also, he did a feature film with a more serious horror band called The Headhunter, which has some really great shots and graphics in it. And I've been it's going to be on the pod at some point. It's something we're going to do. So thank you all for listening to this. I have no idea how coherent any of this was. I I knew this was going to be
How
an
could it
insane
be?
thing going
How,
in because the movie is this is the trail of the movie. This is what's left in its wake. This is what it does to your
bizarre
brain.
stream of consciousness that makes no sense in bits and pieces. You put it all together, and I guess it's a movie.
Yeah. I mean it does have a plot. It just
It
has
does.
so many quick side trips that
Hmm.
it's hard to
Like
determine what's
literal,
part of
like
the plot.
side LSD trips. Yeah.
I'd have to write everything down and see like, does this
Mm.
contribute to the plot moving forward? Yes or no. And I think then that the movie would be
Yeah.
very short if I just
Mm.
pulled out those plot moments, but it doesn't matter because there's always something new to look at, always,
Hmm.
over and over again. And there's not going to be 1 second where Grandma Flois doesn't make you like nauseous because she's so gross looking,
Yep.
and really well done. So it gave me sort of head of the family flashbacks in a way with the funky
Yes.
creation in the chair. So
Yeah.
also, I'm
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure that Jordan has seen House 4 because there is a character, I believe it's House 4, who is a little person who is confined to a wheelchair who constantly hacks up big wads of phlegm into like a machine into a cup
Mm-hmm.
and has like a machine feeding fluids into him. The introduction to
Mm-hmm.
Grandma or Mother Flo is like that, and I was like, ah, I've seen this before. Uh, that's what it is. So Jordan, if I'm correct or if I'm not correct, reach out to me. I mean, hey, Chris Seaver first came on the pod because he had to tell me that he did not watch Thankskilling and the line "nice tits, bitch" in I believe it was Moist Fury was not a reference, which
Oh.
I wholeheartedly disagree with. I think that in a dream state, the dream world of unknown Kadath, I think Chris traveled somewhere where Jordan was or where Turkey was and heard this line and woke up and was like, nice tits, bitch. Oh, I have to sit down and write the script. Pretty sure that's how it happened. Thank you all
Yeah.
so
I believe
much.
it.
Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Cult and Classic Films, everyone. We will be back on a regular schedule these next coming weeks. So thank you for sticking with us. And we've got a lot of new stuff coming down the pipeline. cultandclassicfilms.com and patreon.com/cultandclassicfilms. Right now, you can go on and subscribe. If it is currently locked to new subscribers, you can just reach out to us via info@cultandclassicfilms.com and we'll be happy to let you in. But it is an invite only until the new year. So you can get our awesome movies that we release low for low budget films from filmmakers who deserve your attention, and money from every sale goes to the filmmakers. They do not pay a thing to get us to release it, and every bit of money goes to them for their hard work and to make new movies. Thank you all so much. I am thankful for all of you. Please go to our website, subscribe to our newsletter, follow us on Instagram at Cult and Classic Films. Same on the Facebook if you're 45 or older. And yeah, until next Tuesday, have a good holiday.
Bye.